Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of the Losers Lounge podcast. We're in June now of 2024. This is episode 134 of our podcast. And at what started off as, a regular edition of NXT Battleground, which we'll be talking about, this is, something more than we thought. Folks, this is NXT Battleground Las Vegas. It was originally supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia on the same day as AEW's Double or Nothing. But that didn't happen because it got switched over and it's now taking place this Sunday, June 9th in Las Vegas at the UFC Apex Arena. Now, this is historic because, as you guys know, WWE has been purchased by TKO Group Holdings. So, in other words, they live under the same household as the UFC. They're doing their thing, one's doing their other thing. But this is going to be the first time that a WWE event is taking place inside a UFC arena. And this is actually crazy because it may be a small venue. There's only going to be like 700 people there. That doesn't make it any less historic because, like I said, UFC. This is UFC, WWE, NXT, and we're also going to be talking about TNA. That is actually absolutely wild. Crazy to think about that. But before we get to anything, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome none other than Optimistic Hall of Famer, the heelest of Ballers. It's Heel Baszler.
What's up, bruv?
That's it? What's up, bruv?
Hey, I got quit Billy Goat, man.
But
what's up, everybody? I am currently burning up right now. It is so hot. It is insane over here. It's almost 90 degrees. Dog. It's insane, but I'm surviving somehow. What's up? It's great to be back. Losers Lounge Podcast, UFC Apex, NXT Battleground. Honestly, on paper, this show looks very good, and honestly, I think it will deliver, so I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, you were referencing Will Ospreay, despite the fact that we're talking WWE and not AEW.
AEW was like 2 days ago, so I had to shot my favorite wrestler.
I mean, sure, but then again, we're talking AEW at the end of this month as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got 3 podcasts this month, folks. We're talking this event, NXT Battleground. Then next week, we're talking WWE Clash at the Castle Scotland. And then in a couple weeks after that, AEW New Japan's Forbidden Door to culminate June. So, yeah, we're busy here. But in the meantime, folks, time to bring out our special guests. Please welcome back to the podcast our good pal, Steep.
What's up, y'all? I am back yet again. Sorry for those who don't like hearing me or my voice, but you kind of stuck with me. It's a pleasure to be back talking about this tremendous event, this very historic event, and I look very forward to it.
I mean, I don't see how anybody could not like your voice. I mean, you're awesome.
Exactly.
And man, so all you watching.
Mm-hmm. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome another fellow Optimistic Hall of Famer. I forgot to mention, Steve's also a Hall of Famer. No, I'm not going to discredit that. But also, please welcome Optimistic Hall of Famer, none other than our good friend Beast Mode.
Hello, everybody. It is an honor to be back on the Losers Lounge podcast for, I think, this is my first NXT episode.
Yeah, you haven't been on an NXT podcast, so welcome.
Yeah, this is my first NXT episode talking about NXT, possibly my favorite brand ever on the Losers Lounge podcast. This is historic for me too. This is a dream come true. It really is. I can't wait to talk about Battleground.
I mean, it's also a historic thing for the entire Losers Lounge in general. This is gonna be the first time we're talking TNA. We've never talked TNA on our podcast.
Yeah,
that's a first. But also, as we guys know, the UFC Apex, this is unbelievable. This has hosted so many, obviously, Ultimate Fighting Championship events, so many other great things. I remember the old days, growing up in school, people always said, WWE is fake, UFC is better, and now WWE and UFC coexist on the same roof. It's like the time when Ric Flair announced that he and Vince McMahon are partners now.
As a combat sports fan, I have never thought I would ever see the day that WWE would be under the same umbrella as UFC. I know Steve is a combat sports fan as well. I think I speak for both him and I that when they announced they were merging under the same parent company, it took me by shock is the understatement of the century. Like, I never thought I would ever see the day that, let alone UFC, but just a combat sports company in general would be under the same umbrella as a professional wrestling company. Let alone probably the biggest combat sports company in the world and the biggest professional wrestling company in the world.
You see, this is why
insane to me.
I was hoping that Endeavor would be the one to purchase WWE during the sale. I know there were rumors about this company, that company, certain networks as well. But when it was Endeavor, I knew I was going to love every minute of it. This merger that happened in September of last year and how well it's been doing since then.
Yeah, that is true. So, here's like Beast had brought this up. Steve, you know a thing or two regarding combat sports. What does this actually mean for somebody who can be a fan of both UFC and WWE, knowing that this specific event is taking place at a UFC arena?
I think it's absolutely wonderful, the fact that, this event is taking place in a UFC arena. And for some context about the UFC Apex, so the Apex, the one that's been around in Vegas, has been open since 2019. The UFC Apex, I would say, is the equivalent to the WWE NXT Performance Center. Well, you could say that, as well as the UFC Performance Institute. Both of those are pretty much like a training facility for development. So a lot of young new talent, they will be fighting in the Apex. Not just them, a lot of big names have also fought in the Apex before they were big, after they were big. Holly Holm just recently headlined the UFC Apex event. Also in the UFC Apex, they filmed Tough, the Ultimate Fighter, which is the UFC's reality show to crown the next Ultimate Fighter. In that reality show, you get a $250,000 contract and a contract to the UFC. And it just started up again this past Tuesday. It comes on after NXT. So the Apex has been really a home to build new talent, but also bring back old talent. And it's not just UFC events. Power Slap has emanated from the Apex, skateboarding. There's been a lot of few things that will come from there. Now, I have seen the stereotype going around is that, a lot of people, we really crap on the Apex and a lot of people aren't really fans of it. I can understand in the sense of, you're a big talent and you go from main eventing an open stadium to now being in front of less than 1,000 people. While, yes, that looks like a downgrade, the Apex is pretty much like the mecca of fighting. A lot of people want to fight there. A lot of people don't get the chance to fight there. Yes, it is used for young, new talent. However, all these big names, they all fight in the Apex once again after they're already a made star.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane that we would think that we'd ever be in a situation like this because, prior to WrestleMania 39 last year, I was in Los Angeles. I remember this specifically. I was in Los Angeles when there was the reports of this potential signing, and then it was after both nights of WrestleMania took place that I woke up in the hotel. I was getting ready for the day because, it was my final day in Los Angeles with my bro, Long Night Josh, and we were preparing ourselves for the Raw after WrestleMania, and then I saw it. I was looking online, and I was like, oh my god, WWE is going to be sold to TKO, who also, owns the UFC, forming a coexisting company where both brands do their own specific thing, and yet they're under the same roof. And I think to myself, that's unbelievable. That's amazing. Didn't think we would go there ever. And then, of course, there's so much going on with WWE and with a lot of changes, not only being purchased by TKO, but as we all know, starting next year in 2025, WWE is going to be part of Netflix. So that's also a massive thing. And now we have this NXT Battleground taking place at the UFC Apex. Steve, I'll ask you, do you think, based off on how everything's going on, do you think there could ever be a UFC event at WWE's Performance Center?
Oh, absolutely. I think that they're going to return the favor to one another, and that, they're going to the Apex now. So UFC, there's going to be a UFC fight absolutely in the Performance Center. I think they're going to, I one day do think there's going to be an actual programming, like a show where both matches and UFC fights are going to be happening on that same card.
That would absolutely be wild, and quite a way to introduce both sets of fans. Oh my god. But, hey, That's the unknown future, but that's the best part about the future being unknown. The one thing we do know, however, is the fact that this Sunday is NXT Battleground Las Vegas, and we have 6 matches on the card to talk about. Are you guys ready to talk about it?
You know it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Excellent. We're actually going to start things off with a match that's taken place under someone's alley here. It's an NXT Underground match. And we have Lola Vice taking on former NXT Women's Champion and former UFC fighter Shayna Baszler. She was in UFC, right?
Yes, sir.
I just had to make sure. I didn't know if it was her or if she was in some other mixed martial arts place. Regardless, though, this is Shayna Baszler's alley. She's competing in an NXT Underground match in a UFC arena. So, Lola Vice is brave, and she's got balls, despite being a woman. So, I really think that this is absolutely wild. I kind of had a feeling they would have a certain match type that would reference the UFC, and this is as close as it got, because they've done underground matches before. In this scenario, I did not think it would be going on, and this could be amazing. It's still as unfortunate that Shayna Baszler has not exactly had a lot of good success. Her biggest successes have always been in NXT, and while she has won tag titles on the main roster, she's been mostly spread out as a tag team wrestler, and never really did good as a singles competitor. So when we see her here in this type of environment, you get a different feel around Shayna Baszler. It's like, this isn't the Shayna Baszler you remember from the main roster. You're putting her in an underground match on NXT in a UFC arena. So this is actually going to be really cool. So, Steve, I'll actually start with you on this case. Your thoughts on Shayna Baszler returning for an NXT event, but also competing in this style of match in this arena?
I absolutely love Shayna. I've been following Shayna since around 2008-ish, I want to say. I followed her through her UFC stuff, through, her now wrestling in WWE. I've always been a big fan of her. Also, for context, Valerie Lola Vice, she also comes from MMA. She comes from Bellator MMA, which is basically the second biggest company. It's like the AEW to the UFC. So they both have MMA backgrounds. Shayna has a 15-11 record. Lola has a 4-1 record, and I've seen both of them. Shayna is clearly the more experienced one. I'm going to love this fight, and considering they both have that type of experience, I think this is going to be as legit can be possible. I think there's going to be aspects of this that isn't a part of the script, that they're going to be real strikes. They're actually going to be shooting on each other. As far as where I see this going, I could see Shayna putting over Lola, considering Lola is still the upcoming star.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I said Lola Vice as balls is because we're talking about Shayna Baszler here. But yes, Lola Vice does have experience with this sort of thing as well. So it could very well be match of the night. You never know. I mean, we got a lot going on here that could really be a match of the night. You guys will soon see what I'm talking about. But Heel Balor, your thoughts on the NXT Underground match with Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice?
I am very excited to see how, first of all, this is going to play out. And the storyline has been okay, I guess. But, it's great to see Shayna back in NXT. And, it's just been great. Lola's been doing great in her role as well. Just like Steve said, I'm aware how he says as well. It's been cool. So, who do I think is going to win this match? I'm very torn, honestly. Lola could get the win, and they can establish her as, wouldn't say a threat, but like a viable contender for the NXT North American or the NXT Women's Championship. Women's North American title, by the way. Or you have Shayna win, establish her dominance as well. Obviously, both have legit fighting background. So I'm very torn on who could win. I'm going to go with Lola Vice, I think, on this one. I think that she's going to get the win. I think it's not going to be it's not going to be like one of those decisive wins that she's going to knock her out completely, but I think it's going to be one of those big, like, oh, look what you did, all that stuff. So I think that Lola could use the win more than Shayna. That's just me.
Yeah, that's understandable in that case. I do feel for Shayna, though, because, well, she hasn't exactly had any form of success lately. Her last bit of success was in an MMA rules match where she ended the career of Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. But then right after that, back to being a tag team competitor. And I'm like, well, what was the point of that? Yikes. And finally, Beast, your thoughts on the NXT Underground match?
Man, this really excites me. When I saw this was announced, and knowing both women's backgrounds in mixed martial arts and professional wrestling, I jumped at it. I've been incredibly excited since the announcement of this fight. I'm not even going to call it a match.
You came sailing out of your pants, right?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I nearly fell out of my goddamn chair. Like, I'm not going to call this a match. It's not going to be a match. It's going to be a fight.
Well, that's for sure.
I feel like this is... Oh, what's up, Christian?
I was like, well, that's for sure.
Absolutely, man. Like, I think this is going to harken back to Pancrase. Pancrase, for those that don't know, is a hybrid fighting style that is professional wrestling. The fights are predetermined, but it involves very real striking and submissions. It's basically a friendly shoot. You go out there and you know who's going to win, but you're still shooting on each other.
And Japan, right? Shamrock was a part of that.
Yes, absolutely. 100% he was.
There you go.
This is going to be a very Pancrase style fight. Obviously, the outcome is going to be predetermined, but there is going to be incredibly significant hard shoot strikes and incredibly dangerous and almost bone-breaking looking submissions. I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it. I think personally, I would have Shayna win. That's just me, and I would like to see Shayna win. That is my prediction of who's gonna win. However, I don't want to see Lola look soft in defeat. I want to see her look as strong as she can because she is an incredibly amazing competitor. I don't want to see her look soft in defeat. I feel like this is going to lift her up. If there's anybody that's going to really give her a push in defeat, it's going to be Shayna. I just think Shayna needs more of the rub. And just for me, as an NXT mark, I would love to have Shayna come out to Loyalty Is Everything. I don't know if they're able to get the rights for it. That's one thing. That's a whole different conversation. If they're able to use it, fuck it. Have Shayna come out to Loyalty Is Everything.
So one more thing. I really hope the Lola and Shayna fight is actually in an octagon.
Like in the actual UFC octagon.
That'd be so dope.
Gonna happen. So yeah, there's rumors that might happen.
Yeah, and the Apex has numerous rooms, so you can easily put a ring here and then put the octagon somewhere else.
Exactly.
That is very true. I mean, would that mean a lot of people would just get up and head over to the other side?
Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that could be a case as well. Fighting the UFC octagon, that actually didn't... I saw the rumor about that. I was like, oh my god, that would actually be really cool. I don't know if they'll go through with it, but that would be really cool. I mean, they are in the arena, so you might as well take advantage of what you got here.
Take advantage of the surroundings, especially. I said on my YouTube video, go check it out, my predictions as well. I said that they could easily do a work shoot style with this fight, like Big says, like do a work shoot style thing, real strikes, real submissions, all that kind of stuff. Hell, go all the way, like have a little bit of blood, obviously, just make it seem like they actually don't like each other. Like, again, work shoot. So I think they're going to go all the way. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, here's the thing. The very interesting thing about also with NXT Battleground is the fact that we have 6 matches. Half of them are men matches, half of them are women matches. But honestly, this feels like a women-dominated event, and I think that's really cool based off the matches we have set in motion. It's not just it's not just the Underground match, it's the other 2 title matches that are taking place for the women.
The women are in big spots on this card, and that is absolutely awesome to see for such a historic event.
Yep. We're actually gonna move on now to the next match. However, we're taking a moment away from the women for a sec, and this is gonna be a shocker to everybody. Guess what we're talking about next?
Go for it.
We're talking about the NXT Championship match next.
Okay.
We usually do that last, right? Crazy, right? Nobody's shocked.
Insane.
It's always good to change things up.
nobody here is shocked. Are you guys?
I mean, considering who the champion is, I'm not surprised. Not to marry Trick Williams, but still.
Okay, well, that just went somewhere different.
I like it.
Okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the NXT Championship match. The other reason why we're talking about that one next is not because we don't think it's the main event or anything. It's because there isn't much to discuss for this match. Happened out of nowhere, literally. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Trick Williams defending against the debuting all-ego Ethan Page, freshly from AEW. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta be honest. A couple weeks ago in NXT was without a doubt one of the wildest things that have ever happened when it comes to NXT, and this, of course, was one of them. Ethan Page suddenly showed up out of nowhere, unannounced, not even rumored to show up there either. That's the best part about it. It wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind that Ethan Page was going to show up on NXT and then be given an NXT Championship match at the request of Trick Williams.
The two surprises on that show. Oh, keep going, Will. What's up?
I was basically the element of surprise when Ethan Page and Jordan Grace showing up was great. And I'm wondering what Beast said. The element of surprise in professional wrestling is always great. It's always awesome. Yeah, Beast, take it away, dog. I'll let you talk to the audience on this one.
The two surprises on that show were Jordan Grace, as Will said, and we'll talk about her later. Oh, trust me, I am amped. And Ethan Page. Now, I don't want to say I love social media. I like social media. It's great for some things, but I have always felt that as a professional wrestling fan, having surprises spoiled by dirt sheets, fake reporters on Twitter, whoever, it just doesn't sit well with me, because I'm married to the surprise aspect of wrestling. I love seeing somebody who has been gone for a while, or somebody who's never been in a company, or a commentator randomly making an appearance. I love that. Here's your special guest commentator for tonight, Jim Ross, and it's announced, a week before that Jim Ross is showing up on AEW. Oh, shit, that would have been cooler if nobody knew that Jim Ross was going to show up. It's like when Jordan Grace appeared at the Rumble. Her debut there was not spoiled. Her return, granted debut on a weekly show on WWE, was not spoiled. I fucking love that. It's like if goddamn I don't remember if Cole or Danielson's debuts for AEW were spoiled or not. If they were, I didn't hear anything about it, which is also why I'm glad I'm not on social media a lot anymore.
Yeah, when it comes to
Page's debut for WWE was not spoiled. I fucking love that. When there is a surprise that nobody expects and it gives me goosebumps and nearly knocks me out of my seat, I'm getting goosebumps right now. The surprise aspect of professional wrestling is a lost art now, and it's a damn shame because of social media. And it sucks because I feel like social media is great, conversing with people, talking with people about wrestling, talking with people about anything you like. It's awesome. It's great. I love it. I wouldn't have met these gentlemen if it wasn't for social media. However, using social media to spoil things, spoil great surprises, I'm not a fan of it. And it's used a lot for that. I feel like if people could just stray away from that, it'd be great, but they won't. So therefore, I've backed away from social media, and I'm glad I have. And I suggest people do the same, because therefore you are not spoiling what is going to happen as a surprise for yourself. You're not seeing it. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and you are more invested in the wrestling therefore. Edge's return was spoiled. It was. I didn't hear about it because I wasn't on Twitter a lot at the time. I'm glad I wasn't. Because when Edge returned to the 2020 Rumble, I nearly cried. My dad was bawling in his chair, and he's not a crier. But I saw that, and that made my heart grow 3 sizes that day as a wrestling fan, because he doesn't really like wrestling anymore. But seeing one of his favorites come back, and he didn't hear about it either, and he's crying, I love that. I love that for wrestling. So please, if dirt sheets are going to spoil shit, let them shout into the void. Don't concern yourself with social media with that shit.
I really think that I did not expect a Grinch reference to be made here, but that was actually really cool. That was right on the money. Right on the money and a hell of a good story. And this is why we
Thank
bring
you.
you aboard for this sort of stuff.
Thank you.
So, as we all know, there isn't much to talk about for this case, but we'll talk with as much as we can get. So, Beast, since you've been going on quite the story here, tell us about your thoughts on the NXT title match and who you think's going to take it.
Oh, man. I love Trick. I really, really love Trick. I have been a fan of Ethan Page since the North, his tag team with Josh Alexander. I feel like he was extremely underutilized in AEW. When he went to AEW, I was like, fuck yes. Oh my God, he needs to be world champion. And then he wasn't. He needs to be mid-card. He wasn't. It's like, fuck, man. So underutilized there, which sucks. He's a great talent. He's great on the mic. He deserves, and it's such a fucking Twitter phrase, he deserves more. And I am glad he's finally getting that chance. And I love Trick to death. But Ethan Page needs this. I am very excited to hear his theme song, which, side note, as a bit of an old guy, you know, spiritually for wrestling, call me an old head if you will, I love kayfabe, even though it's long dead. When Ethan Page was coming out on NXT and he didn't have a theme song, I was like, yes, dude, because I was a little worried. I was like, oh, cool. Ethan Page, come on out. He's going to have a Tron and he's going to have a theme. That, like, immediately gives it, oh, it's contrived and he's actually signed. Like, why are we doing this contract signing then? He came out, didn't have a fucking Tron. He didn't have a theme. I love that shit. It's the little nuances of kayfabe that, yes, it's long dead, but it just makes me as an old head really happy. So as an old head in some respects, I appreciate that. That was a sidebar. I am excited to hear his theme song and keeping him not having a theme song, keeping it under wraps as a theme song until the big show. Fucking great. Excited to hear what he's going to have as a theme. I'm excited to see his gear. I'm excited to see his entrance. And I'm excited to see, hopefully, because I fucking love Trick, but to see Ethan Page get his moment in the sun as NXT champion. He's my prediction.
Wow. I won't lie. This would be the first time ever that someone's debut match would be winning the NXT title.
Yeah, that'd be a first time ever too. Holy shit, yeah.
So that would be absolutely wild. For my case, I'm actually torn on that as well because Ethan Page, according to kayfabe, is not even signed. Let's be honest, though. He actually is. But we're keeping kayfabe alive here, so let's just assume he's an outsider here. He's an outsider who could become the NXT champion and take it Lord knows where else. So keep that in mind as well. And also, something else I wanted to point out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ethan Page. That was not me. So stop saying I look like him.
You do, though.
I don't look like Ethan Page! Why does everybody keep saying that?
Wait a minute. Are we Christian? Are you Ethan Page?
No.
Think about it. They're both, well, Christian's a former wrestler. Ethan Page is a wrestler. They're both from Canada. Yeah.
Hey, here's the difference, all right? Here's the difference. He's from Hamilton. I'm from Toronto.
Wait. I'm gonna crack this case. I'm gonna crack this case wide open. You ready?
All right.
Christian is actually Ethan Page.
Shit. No, I'm not. I don't know who you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. Nope. Not a chance.
Hey, man, Ethan, I hope you win the NXT title.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I mean, no, I'm not Ethan Page.
Oh my.
I think we got him, boys.
Could sexy Red help me out here?
Get it, sexy.
I'm just gonna be distracted by the twerking.
Yeah, you sexy Red's the perfect distraction while I get the hell out of here. Speaking of which,
wait,
folks...
no, Ethan, wait, come back. Oh, Christian, you just missed Ethan Page. Son of a bitch.
What are you talking about? I was here the whole time.
Oh my?
Oh
my God. Superman, he puts on the glasses and he's Ethan Page.
God. We're really going that far. I wear glasses for God's. I wear glasses too, for God's sake.
Oh my!
Oh my God! What the hell just happened here? Okay, Trick Williams is retaining the NXT title. That's just what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna move on from this, please. Because oh my God!
Damn! You're really saying you're gonna lose?
Shut up!
Fucked up.
No! I am not Ethan Page. I'm not Ethan Page. Why does everybody keep saying that? You know what? Screw it.
They both have met, apparently.
You know what? Screw it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to Twitter right now, and I'm gonna tweet this right now. Like, I'm not kidding. You're probably gonna see this,
Tweet
folks.
during the podcast, unprecedented.
Yeah, I'm tweeting during the podcast. All right.
During the podcast. Let's go.
I am not Ethan Page. Why does everyone keep saying that?
He is Ethan.
Just to let you know, I'm rooting for you, Ethan.
To be fair, people think I look like Kevin Hart, so no.
Wait, you're not Kevin Hart?
Just I don't look like Bruno
And
Mars.
tweet it. I just
Yes, you do.
I just tweeted right now.
Hashtag Bro looks like Bruno Mars.
Oh my God, he actually did. He's not. I just retweeted it. Oh my God.
Go ahead and retweet that or something, or say something weird and funny. But while we're doing that, Steve, your thoughts on the NXT title match between Trick Williams and Ethan Page. Ethan Page.
Well,
Exactly.
I've been a big fan of you since you were teaming with Josh Alexander, Mr. Page.
And no. I'm with Long Neck Josh. Not you're looking for the wrong Josh here.
And when you were in Men of the Year and America's Hot Team in AEW, Mr. Page, and you showing up on that Tuesday, when you would take out Trick. In all honesty, Trick was supposed to face Noam Dar, as we all know where this was gonna go. When all that stuff was happening with the Supernova sessions and Lash and all that, I'm gonna be honest, ain't not a single soul on this planet wanted to see that. I'm just being brutally honest. I do not care for Noam Dar or whatever he has going on with Metaphor, and that match would have blowed, that storyline blowed. It's a shame to see what Trick's reign really became, because a lot of people were behind him when he beat Ilya, and he had this big movement behind him, and it all just kind of, with the snap of the finger, just kind of died and disappeared. And it's like Ethan Page coming in, and I really think for what's best, Ethan does need to win the title for numerous reasons. One, because you're presenting him as this all-eagle guy, like, I'm here, I don't need to prove myself, I've already done everything I can, and giving him the title would elevate that character to further extents. But also, I think it's better for Trick because he cannot keep being the champion, and then the reign he's having. Because honestly, if Trick were to beat Ethan, what message is that really sending? Oh yeah, the AEW guy came into our roster and we buried him. I'll take that. I'll stick a middle finger to you guys. This is what you guys get. I think a lot of people will interpret it as that. I personally wouldn't think it's like that, but it would come off as that. I also really think that Ethan Page will do wonders for the title, and that Trick should have been on the main roster at the same time. Melo went up when Braun went up, so I really think his time in NXT is done.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we're in a situation now where who knows where we're gonna go with this. Trick has been a champion for like a month right now, and Ethan Page has just shown up. But there's a lot of big circumstances of this, which is why it's absolutely a wild match to think about. It's absolutely crazy to think. Heel Baszler, your thoughts on the NXT Championship match?
Listen, my problem isn't really with Trick Williams in general. I think Trick is pretty good. But for me, Trick Williams is basically, he's Melo's sidekick. That's just me. I think that Trick Williams is a great performer. He's good at what he does. But in my opinion, just like Steve said, he's main roster of talent. That's just how it is to me. I think Trick is made for the main roster, like Braun Breaker, like Ilya Dragunov, like Carmelo Hayes, people like that. I think Trick is made for the main roster. I think they didn't have anybody else to fill the void of Ilya Dragunov. And let's be honest, Ilya Dragunov's reign as champ, in my opinion, just sucked because he was sucked into the void of the Melo Trick rivalry, and it didn't really give his title run to breathe, in my opinion. And
someone sing me Ilya.
Yeah, Yes, Ilya Dragunov. Yes, hello, Stephen. How you doing? Yes, yes.
Hey, no, it's not even on the card.
No, get out.
Sorry,
Leave. Important. Sorry, guys. Anyways, the way they Trick, yeah, great talent, but I think he's made for the main roster. That's just me. And I think that they gave it to the guy who is, again, he's over, which is great. That's fine. I just personally think that Trick is made for the main roster, and they just gave it to him because, well, somebody had to fill the void of Ilya Dragunov and stuff like that. And let's be honest, again, Ilya Dragunov's reign wasn't even that memorable to me, for me at least, because he was sucked into the Trick mellow vortex, and it just didn't really pan out for him. And plus, Ethan Page coming in, I'm happy he's here. I've been following him for a while, since the North days with these guys as well. Great talent. Great on the mic. He has the look. He has the skills to be a top star. When he got signed to AEW, I'm like Beast too. When he was signed to AEW, I was like, they're going to do something with him. Nope. World champ? Nope. Mid-card champ? Nope. Tag champ? Nope. So, and also, I really wanted him in WWE in 2020 I believe 2021 or whenever his contract was up around the time. I wanted him in NXT. I was like, this guy's made for NXT. He's made for AEW. He's made for any company out there. But I'm glad he's here. Do I think he's going to win? Now, that's kind of tricky here. Do you have Trick losing his first title defense? The last time someone lost their first title defense, I believe, was John Gargano. And, Gargano lost in his first title defense against Adam Cole, baby. Do you have Trick lose, and do you have Trick be the one to chase? I think Trick's character could benefit from chasing the championship, then winning it back, or potentially again being called up. Giving Ethan Page title in his first try, that'd be cool. That'd be making headlines. I think what they're going to do is have Ethan win, but he's not going to win the title. I think somehow, someway, maybe Trick gets disqualified. Someone gets disqualified. Trick's going to retain the title, but Ethan's going to still win. It's going to save the rematch for Heatwave in Canada. And I think that's where Ethan Page is winning the title. I think they're going to run him up through the ranks a little bit. Ethan's going to win the title at NXT Heatwave. So I think Trick retains, but at the same time, I think that they're going to have Ethan Page win, just not win the title. So only with Ethan Page, but he's going to win by disqualification. That's what I think is going to happen.
Honestly, I could see metaphor in them getting involved. And when you saw when she was here, that one appearance, Sexy Red, she's hanging around Trick. So, I mean, there's definitely going to be a number of people getting involved during this match.
Yeah, there is, yeah. Let's see, come on, lend your ears, brother. What you got?
Okay, it's like, I'd much rather, have Ethan Page win. On the same time, I understand the point of protecting him. There's, you can protect him and you can also protect the champion with the DQ laws. I do think that Ethan's going to come out looking strong at the end of this. And if Trick does retain, it's going to be, like you said, a count out, a DQ, or whatever, the case might be. I still think that this metaphor stuff is going to continue, and they're going to just have that match on a normal TV episode where it should be with Noam Dar. And then, because you still want to build Ethan Page up. He still has to be the all-legal guy. So he definitely should be winning the title within this year. And I can see now, maybe not the first try, but, it's going to be somewhat soon.
Yeah. It's like he can come out on NXT the next week and brag and be like, or not brag and be like, I was screwed over. Like, I'm the hot new talent right now. I'm this and I'm that. And then he can, go through the ranks, get the number contendership, and then be given the title at Heatwave. Because I don't know, where else you can really give it to him. I would give it to him on NXT TV. That's just me. But again, that's why I think Ethan's going to win by disqualification. I think it's gonna, I don't think they want to have Trick lose his first title defense. I don't know. They could. And great. I'd be happy. I love Ethan Page. I really hope he does win. But I just don't know if they're going to take the title off Trick this soon. They know how hot Trick is. They do. They also know how hot Ethan Page is. So I think they're going to play it safe is by having the DQ thing. Ethan's going to win, not the title, and it's going to save the rematch for Heatwave. Because let's be honest, I'd rather have Ethan Page win it in front of a big crowd. That's just me. I know we've had title changes in front of small venues, obviously with NXT. The PC, the Forum Center, obviously. Back at Full Sail, we have the same thing. But I think having Ethan win it from a big crowd is a lot more justified than having him win in a small venue in front of 700 people. I know it doesn't matter wherever you win the title, you still win the championship. But having him win in front of his his people in front of his home country, I guess, his country people, I think it'd be justified more of Ethan Page. And plus, he'd probably get a bigger reaction if he would have won a heat wave.
Yeah,
so I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, he actually would. After all, like, Toronto is, well, about, like, I don't know, 30 minutes out from Hamilton. Still considered, a hometown crowd. So, there's that to consider. I really think that's going to be great anyway. It's kind of weird. I thought we didn't have much to talk about. This went on for almost 20 minutes.
It's like if you analyze the whole thing, I mean, y'all can jump in, boys, if y'all want to. If you analyze the whole thing, there's a lot more to be desired. I said the same thing with my predictions that I did. I was like, now I think about it, they might save Ethan's title, his title win for next month.
Yeah.
Because if you really analyze the whole thing. I know people are, very excited and, they want to win titles first try. Again, I have no issue with that. I'm just analyzing the fact that, they want to keep Trick looking strong and keep the title on him. And that's why I think Trick is going to keep the title, but he's not going to win the match. That's why I think they're going to have Ethan win by DQ.
Mm-hmm.
Trick's going to get so pissed off. And Trick's going to, do something. It's going to cause him to snap and, hit him with a steel chair or something like that. But again, I would not be surprised if Ethan wins. I would lose my mind if Paige wins. Seriously. But that's what I think's going to happen.
All right. We're going to move on now to the next match. I'll be honest, I thought that conversation about the NXT title would last only 5 minutes. Surprise. It turned into a lot of people thinking I was Ethan Page.
You are.
I see right through your lies.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Very nice. Anyway, we're going to move on now to the next match. And this one is for the NXT Tag Team Championships, as the champions Nathan Frazier and Axiom are defending against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the OC. The idea of Gallows and Anderson back in NXT is honestly, in my opinion, a good thing for them. Because let's be honest, what the hell are they doing on the main roster ever since they came back? Not a whole lot going on.
Not much.
Not a whole lot. Kind of similar to when they were in AEW. Not a whole lot.
I think the only time they ever got exposure was in TNA. Obviously New Japan, but TNA.
Yeah.
Which the TNA freaking ruled.
Yeah, that's truly the one where it really got really good for them. I still wonder if Luke Gallows will ever have another confrontation with CM Punk.
That would be... Ed Beast, what do you think about that?
That'd be fun. I think as a little reference to Festus, I think that would be fine.
Straight Edge Society.
Dude, SES Punk was my favorite Punk. As a fan of Punk, and as a really big fan of Punk, and as a fan of the Straight Edge Society, which is my favorite incarnation of Punk, I think it'd be fine. It just kind of depends on the way because they could go about it really cornily, or they could go about it in a cool oh, I remember they could do it in a fun way. They could. So if they do it, I'm here for it.
Well, saying that made you cough, so you must be allergic.
Yeah, I choked on the doo-doo, bro.
Pause.
Gross.
So what now?
Pause.
I think I broke Christian.
We're gonna keep going.
Oh my god.
We're gonna keep going. Beast, give me a prediction on the winner of this tag title match. Without choking on the doo-doo.
Base. I adore Nathan Frazier and Axiom. My only issue is that they're called Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and their whole presentation as a fucking tag team blows chunks. They don't have an actual fucking team theme. It's an amalgamation of their two themes that Nathan's cuts off and Axiom's jumps in. They don't really have matching gear a lot of the time, and they don't have a team name. I love them, but their presentation as a team has sucked so much ass. It just hasn't been good. Now, if they retain here, which personally I wouldn't mind that. if they retain here, I think NXT should just revamp them and make them a better team presentation-wise. That's what I feel like they should do. If they don't retain, which I'm not saying I think they shouldn't, I'd be fine with them winning and I'd be fine with them losing. My prediction is the OC. I would be fine with either outcome, though. If they don't retain, just disband them. Have them go back to being singles guys, because that's what they were fucking fantastic at. And they're fucking fantastic at being a tag team, too. Just their presentation hasn't been up to snuff. So if they retain, just make their presentation better. That's my only nitpick there. Is just their presentation as a team's not been good.
Yeah, I would agree, because they've been teaming for basically the entirety of 2024 so far. We're 6 months in now, and
yeah,
you have a good point on that case. The OC returned to NXT conveniently attacking Axiom and Nathan Frazier back in February, so this is like honestly like the full circle moment. It's a full circle match here. Truthfully, I really think the OC should take it, because I would like to see them get success, and they are a legitimately presented tag team in the division.
I 100% agree.
Absolutely, and agree.
Absolutely.
Heel Baszler, your thoughts on the NXT Tag Team title match?
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to piggyback off what Beast said. Like, there's not really much to say with Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and I was so excited to see them being put as a tag team together. And it just really hasn't worked out. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I think they're giving it to the OC. I think they're walking out tag champs. And, yeah, you can do more with the OC than you really do with Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And, again, that sucks to say, because there's a potential there. I don't know what I don't know what it is. So I think they're going to redo everything. They're going to give it to the OC, and they're going to, like, do a little bit more with them than they did with Axiom and Nathan Frazier. That's just me, though. But, yeah, the presentation of champs sucks. And I hate saying that, but it sucks. So I think the OC is winning.
All right. And Steep, your thoughts on the NXT Tag Team title match?
Axiom and Nathan Frazier are two people that you put them together, great. You have them apart, great. They're wonderful talents as an individual. They're wonderful talents when you place them in a tag team. However, I do think that there has been like Beast said, there hasn't been much of them really being presented as a tag team outside of having tag matches and really being champs. But considering, the OC and how long they've been a tag team and being here, and they went back down to NXT because they really didn't have much to do outside of when AJ Styles was, still doing stuff with them. So I think, honestly, the OC should win, and it's going to help them, and it's going to keep them busy in the meantime. Because after Nathan and Axiom aren't together anymore, they can go off and branch into single stars. They could be in the mid card. They could be, the main title picture. So they're going to have stuff to do no matter what. I think the OC needs this, and it's going to benefit them both.
I agree entirely. So, we're going to move on now to the next match, and this is a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship. And the final men's match we'll be talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, the champion, Obafemi, is defending against Joe Coffey and the returning Wes Lee. Wes Lee, who's the longest reigning NXT North American champion, and one could say the greatest North American champion of all time, due to how amazing in the terms of quality that his title reign was presented. Because I gotta tell you, that shit was amazing. There wasn't a single North American title match that Wesley competed in where I was not amazed. Like, he went all the way for it. Close to 300 days as the champion, and he lost it to Dominic Mysterio, sure. But that was actually really cool even when he lost it. Sure, an injury caused him to be put on the shelf for several months, but he's back in action, and he's looking to get his championship back. Then you got Joe Coffey, who is honestly one of the best who came out of NXT UK. May not have been a champion over there. However, Gallus, they absolutely did. And it's and then you got Obafemi. You got Wesley, the best North American champion. Joe Coffey, one of the best from NXT UK, who's looking to get so much success. Then you got Obafemi, the new champion, who is absolutely on a tear. I'm trying to find the right word for that. But regardless, Obafemi has really shown ever since he was in that breakout tournament that he's one of the very best that was acquired from the list of superstars there. And it really shows in his performance. He's like, I once said this in one of my Sins videos, he kind of is like a mixture of like Apollo Crews with the athleticism and Omos with the size and, well, the Nigerian background. You get those, put those two together, you get Obafemi. That's just the way I look at it, and it's in the best of ways. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see that. So now we have this triple threat coming up. Obafemi has been an amazing North American champion. I'm glad that his title reign, when he got it in the start of this year. I'm really glad that it's actually lasted as long as it has, and I'm really glad that he's been continuing to put on great performance after great performance. You just never know what's gonna come next. Then you have this triple threat coming up. This is part of why I'm saying that this match card for NXT Battleground Las Vegas is one of the most stacked that we've ever seen. This could be very well one of the most hyped up NXT events of all time. And I really mean that. Could even classify as more stacked than a majority of all NXT takeovers. And I'm trying to be nice here. I'm not meaning all of it. I mean saying it could be up there. And it has to do with the talent that's being presented and the amount of hype that the fans are being given toward it. So, historic, stacked, and excitement. That to me describes the NXT North American title match and of course this pay-per-view as a whole. How'd I do there, folks?
Brilliant presentation,
I think
sir.
you did fantastic, man.
Absolutely.
It's about time that I really gave a good presentation, as if I was looking at a board with one of them long sticks.
There you go.
I'm the teacher here showing the class what it's all about. Professor Maracle. And then Professor Beast, Professor Steep, Professor Baszler.
Showing Andre Chase up, that's crazy.
Ha ha ha.
Chase you.
We could be the real leaders at Chase U next.
No.
I'm here.
Hell no.
Oh, come on. We can actually make it worth something.
Fuck Chase you.
Hill Ballard, you are hereby sentenced to detention.
The only thing I like about Chase U is Thea Hale, and let's see, that's about it. Yeah.
Anyways, though, Steve, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the NXT North American title situation?
I have been a fan of Obafemi since he first showed up. He was my pick to win the Women's Breakout Tournament. Yeah. And when he did, I was absolutely elated and filled with happiness and joy because I really saw a lot in him. And when he cashed in on Dragon Lee to become the North American champion, I had a lot of people telling me, oh, he's mid. I don't see anything from him. He can't wrestle. He didn't come from this. He can't do that. And you saw the performance he put on, especially at Stand and Deliver. This dude got hit with so much, and he came back again and again and again. He was literally a walking zombie. And his matches have been really high caliber, high performance. He has a personality. He's big, and he could be really the next monster that they're looking for in NXT. And the fact that how long he's been champion now, and I honestly think his reign is going to continue, so he is my pick to win. He's always done well in multi-man matches. We saw that at Stand and Deliver, and I think here again it's going to be a recreation of that. He's going to get hit with a lot. You know, they're going to team up to take him out, and then some point in the match, we're going to think that he can't come back, and then he's going to come back again. So I have a lot of trust and faith in Obafemi, and I love the way they've been presenting him. So I have him retaining.
All right. Yo, Baszler, your thoughts on the NXT North American title match?
Sure. His presentation has been great. The last NXT show we had with that triple threat that tore the house down, in my opinion, that weekend. It was so much fun. And Oba's been a pretty good champ. Hey, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy. I think he's very talented the way he does. He, like Steve said, he's like a zombie. He keeps coming back. And I think this time will be no different. I do think he's retained the NXT North American Championship. I do think that Joe Coffey is going to take the pin. I think it's going to come with him and Wes Lee. And or maybe Wes Lee does win the North American title. But I think they're going to keep it on Obafemi just a little bit longer. And like I said, his presentation, has been pretty good. He's the next big monsters with that. Like, please put him and Braun Breaker together, please. That'd be a very fun match. But yeah, I have Obafemi retain the North American Championship in this match.
If I may, I really hope that the person who beats Obafemi biasly, and everyone who's close to me knows how much I really like this dude, and considering he's going to be back soon, I really hope the guy to beat Obafemi is Eddie Thorpe. I've been a big fan of Eddie Thorpe. I've been waiting for him all year to come back. I know he was injured. So, yeah, if anything, he's my pick to dethrone Obafemi when I have him retaining this, but I really want to see Eddie Thorpe win the title after him.
Alrighty, cool. And finally, Beast, your thoughts on the North American title match?
Oh, man. I'm a fan of all three of these guys, especially Wesley. I'd like to see Wes get the North American title back because, like you said, Christian, his North American title reign was probably the greatest North American title reign of all time. And even just when I thought, okay, it's going on a little too long, he got beaten by Dominic. And I was like, that's perfect. That reign was perfect. But, man, I'd like to see him get it back. I don't think it's going to be here. I mean, I think he's going to beat Oba, but it's going to be one-on-one. It's not going to be in this three-way. Joe Coffey's going to take the pin. I don't think it's going to be your usual, like, oh, Wesley hits him with the cardiac kick, and then Oba shit cans Wesley to the floor and steals the victory. No, it's going to be something different. It's going to be something cool to really solidify Oba again. But Wes is probably he's going to get another shot down the road one-on-one, and he's going to be the one to beat Oba, absolutely. But Obafemi, I think, is retaining here in this triple threat.
All right. I got to say, those are really good presentations of what this title match could be. Crazy enough, this is a first, folks. That is not the first. Actually, that's not the only North American title match we're talking about. Coming up next, we're talking about a ladder match. First off, I do wonder, will they have enough room in that small arena to host even a ladder match? But I guess they will. It's a ladder match.
I think so.
Yeah, it's a ladder match.
I think so. Okay, Nelson. Bye, then.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is a ladder match for the inaugural NXT Women's North American Championship. The first ever mid-card championship for the women, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
I think it is. Yep.
First. This is the very first for the women, I believe, in WWE. And I'm for me, people got what they wanted. I personally would have I wouldn't have had a North American title per se, if that makes any sense. I would have said a little bit different. You know what I mean? I would have had I don't know, a hybrid championship or something like that. I would have redid the North American title just for the women. That's just me. But I understand kind of why they did it. But I would have had a different kind of championship, I guess is the wording. You know what I mean?
Perhaps. And of course, a mid-card championship for the women has always been something that I think was needed for a lot of cases. I understand women's tag team titles were cool, but eventually, they're teams. And then you got a lack of teams. Then there'd be no point of it. But that's why I'm like, why not a mid-card title? Because then those other women who are not in the world title scenes can be in their own place and can be presented well. And here we go. It finally is happening for the NXT side. I really hope that the main roster still does that as well, because the women on the main roster could definitely use a mid-card championship. So anyways, here are the 6 women competing in the ladder match. It's Sol Ruca, Lash Legend, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Meet Chin, and Kaylani Jordan. Meet Chin of the OC is competing in this, just like Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are competing. We're just missing AJ Styles. But of course, he's got his own thing going on with Cody Rhodes, likely for Clash at the Castle Scotland, which we'll be talking about next week. I'm excited for that. In this case, though, this is a situation where I'm like, any of these women can win it, and I'll be totally fine with it. There's not a single person on here who I would be disappointed for. Maybe except Meet Chin, no disrespect. It's just she's a main roster person. But since it's a 6-person ladder match, we can pick 2 predictions. We'll predict 2 winners for this case. And I will start by saying my 2 picks. Kaylani Jordan, Fallon Henley. That's my 2 picks in that case. Beast, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on NXT unveiling the Women's North American title and your 2 picks to win this ladder match.
I wasn't expecting the Women's North American title. I was expecting a Women's Mid-Card title, but I wasn't expecting a Women's North American title. I was shocked and happy when they unveiled it. My first thought was my Stardom fave, Julia, was going to be in this match. I know she's wrapping up her dates. I think once she is wrapped up with her dates, she's either going to challenge the winner of this, or she's going to go right to the main event scene and challenge the NXT Women's Champion. As for who I think is going to win this match here, ladder matches are a crapshoot. When they unveiled the North American title and they did a ladder match, it was one of the greatest ladder matches I've ever seen. I feel like this is going to be in that same vein. I feel like we're gonna see these women get the spotlight that they deserve. And my predictions are the same as Christian's. Fallon Henley and Kailani Jordan. If either one of those two win, feel like you're going to get the most out of this matchup. For the winners, you're going to get an incredible matchup regardless. But if you have either Fallon or Kailani winning, it's just gonna elevate that match just a little bit more because of who won it. I feel like that's just me. I feel like Fallon Henley's going to elevate the title if she wins. I feel like Kailani's going to elevate the title if she wins. Really do think that it's going to be one of those two women walking out as the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion.
All right. Steve, your thoughts on the unveiling of the Women's North American title and your 2 picks to win the ladder match.
Honestly, it's great. It gives a lot of women who aren't in the main event scene something to do. I think it's a much better alternative than the women's tag titles that we've been seeing both on the main roster and on NXT the past couple of years. But I honestly think a women's mid-card title is really the much better route to take. As far as my 2 picks, I have Kailani Jordan, and just because she's really grown on me as a fave, I also have Jada Parker.
All right. Not bad picks. I like that. And finally, Hugh Baszler, your thoughts on the unveiling of the Women's North American title and your 2 picks.
Mid-card championship, finally for the women. That's great. I think it's going to be led by whoever wins this match. My 2 picks are going to be either Saruka or my fave, who I think is going to win this match, Kailani Jordan. I think they both can benefit from winning this match. Nothing against Fallon, nothing against Lash Legend, nothing against Jada Parker, nothing against anyone in this match. I think that they're going to go the reverse route of the first thing when they had the men's North American title match. They had Adam Cole be the first one to win. I think they're going a different route, by having the face be the one to win. Having a big baby face and then having the heel, dastardly heel, taken off of them, be a much better route. I think with Saruka, she's a perfect candidate to win. With the way her finisher is fantastic. The way she presents herself is great. Kailani Jordan's really grown on me. I think she's a great talent as well, and she could benefit from a lot. Fallon, I like her. I think she's going a little bit more into her own with her character. Lash Legend, I don't talk about her because, in my opinion, Lash Legend sucks. Jada Parker, she's okay. She's okay. Michin, she's a stereotype bum. I love Mia Yim, but she's a stereotype bum. And who else in this match? Or is that it?
It's Meat Shin, by the way.
Mia. Anyways, I think that those two with Kalani and Saruka could benefit, in my opinion, winning this match. And again, that's just me. Call me biased, call me whatever, but I think they're going to go with one of those two, and I got Kalani Jordan or Saruka winning this match.
Alrighty. You guys ready to talk about the big deal here?
Ready is an understatement.
Deal or no deal.
Something I didn't think we'd be talking about at all when it comes to these podcasts. The main event, probably not the main event of the show, but the main event of our podcast, because let's be honest, this is the most talked about match right now. It's the NXT Women's Championship, and that is the champion Roxanne Perez defending against what we thought initially was going to be somebody from the main roster. Kudos to NXT for making the audience think that was going to be the case. Because Ava had announced Roxanne Perez will be defending the women's title at Battleground against somebody from the main roster after she spoke with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, and her opponent would be revealed the following week. But when that following week came, instead out came TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace, who we previously saw at the Royal Rumble earlier this year. But when that happened, that was one of the ultimate jaw-dropping moments. This ain't some forbidden door. This is the freaking multiverse. I'm using the multiverse in this case, because to me that sounds a lot better than Forbidden Door. Because let's be honest, AEW kind of killed that. This is unusual. We're talking about TNA and NXT. This is absolutely crazy, and this is not the first time. This is not the first time we've done this, because they previously had Mickie James cross over as TNA Women's Champion in 2022. However, that was announced ahead of time. When that would have been that was honestly the worst thing to ever announce ahead of time. And then a couple years later, you had Jordynne Grace do the same thing. That time was unannounced, and it was awesome. But this ain't a Royal Rumble appearance now. This is literally competing in a one-on-one match on pay-per-view. And not just that, but Jordynne Grace had a match on NXT this past Tuesday. First time ever. So she's officially the first wrestler from TNA to have a match on WWE while still signed with TNA. Like a one-on-one match. This doesn't happen. Or this would never happen under Vince McMahon. I kind of had a feeling at some point when Vince McMahon was gone that something would happen out of nowhere like this. And here we are. And something tells me this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning of potential crossovers of WWE and TNA. And who knows who else would show up, because now anything and anyone is possible. And this also goes for people from WWE showing up over on TNA. Anything is possible now. So we better watch out. Roxanne Perez versus Jordynne Grace at Battleground. And I'm going to say this, folks. I think Jordynne Grace is going to take it. I think she's going to take it. As a way of showing that this is only the beginning of crossovers here between WWE and TNA. And potentially other companies. Who knows? We don't know at this point. This is absolutely wild to think about. But I really think this could be a chance for Jordynne Grace to make more history and be the first wrestler ever to be a TNA champion and a WWE champion at the same time. Nobody else could ever say that they did that, but she definitely could. And Roxanne Perez, great talent, perhaps one of the best women's wrestlers in recent memory for when it comes to NXT. And she has a great story, a great set around. But at the same time, I really don't think it would be so bad if she lost the NXT Women's title to Jordynne Grace at Battleground. A lot of times I'm trying to figure out what to say, because I'm still amazed and shocked that we're even talking about this. That we're even in a moment like this at all. This is an NXT Premium Live event, a WWE event, and a UFC arena, and we're talking about TNA. How the fuck did we get here? How the fuck did we get here? So, I really think, I'll take the chance and say Jordynne Grace. I think Jordynne Grace is going to win the NXT Women's Championship, make more history, and take that title with her over to TNA. After all, she did say she would issue some sort of open challenge at some point over on TNA. And you never know, somebody from WWE could end up showing up there. So, maybe you want to keep your eyes peeled for that. But that's where I'm going with this. Yo, Baszler, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this whole fucking thing?
Well, first of all, I lost my flipping mind when Jordynne Grace showed up. TNA. I've been a fan of Total Nonstop Action since 2009. It was the second wrestling company I ever got into. 2 years out of becoming a professional wrestling fan. Actually, 2 years becoming a professional wrestling fan, I found TNA. And I fell off of them in 2015. Didn't really go back until, obviously, they started to pick things up. And from what I've seen, it's been amazing. And I've always wondered, like, I wanted a partnership with them in WWE, or them have a crossover. And the fact that this is actually a thing, it makes me smile as a wrestling fan. It makes me happy as a wrestling fan. I love stuff like this. So seeing a TNA wrestler like Jordan Gray, I know obviously Mickey James did this in the Royal Rumble. Again, I know that. The knockout title kind of stuff, it's been in the Royal Rumble, stuff like that. But Jordan Grace, a signed TNA talent, it's amazing. It is unprecedented. It's awesome. It's cool. It's great. It's fun. And if it works out well, if this whole partnership works out well or whatever, this cross or what do you want to call it, the multiverse, the wrestling universe, the forbidden door, whatever you want to call it, if it works out well, it can do great things for professional wrestling. I love it. Jordan Grace Women Wrestling Roxanne is so much fun, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Personally, if the NXT title does not close the show, I would have this or the Women's Underground close the show. That's just me.
Yeah, I really think that this is one of the very few occasions where I'm like, the NXT Women's title could very well be the main event of the show, and it would be earned. It would not be forced. I really think that'd be the case. And here's the thing, if these crossovers do well, I really think that the WWE and NXT should go through with a crossover pay-per-view, like bringing back the Worlds Collide event.
Worlds Collide, exactly.
Worlds Collide, or if you want to use the TNA term, the multiverse of matches.
They have a thing like that. Okay.
They had that for WrestleCon, I believe, in 2022. Multiverse of matches, to reference the Doctor Strange movie that was coming out at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like, I want the boys to join this. I do think that who do I think is going to win though? Before they jump in, who do I think is going to win? I'm cool either way, honestly, man. I'm just gonna leave it up in the air. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy it. I don't know who's going to win. Roxy could win. I'd be down for that. Jordan Grace could win and, set the wrestling world on fire. Like, holy shit. A signed TNA talent won a WWE championship.
Yeah.
It could go either way. And I'm cool with it. Boys, jump on in, boys. Since we're crossover people.
Yeah, I would definitely go to them. I'll start with Steve here. Your thoughts on, as I called it, this whole fucking thing.
I'm going to join in on this. Go ahead, Steve.
Sure.
Pro wrestling as a whole is beautiful. We should be one. Pro wrestling, no matter what company it is, every company, whatever, it is still the same sport at the end of it. And no matter what talent, where you are, you're still a wrestler. And we should be united. There should be allowed to have crossovers, and there should be talent making appearances on other people's companies and their programming, because it does a lot for the wrestling company. It introduces talent to new fans who might not know who you are. It shows that, hey, we could be together, we could be one. That's the beauty of pro wrestling, because a lot of pro leagues and other sports, they're not going to be crossing over with talents like that. You're not going to see a top league sports company do something with an international sports league company, and if they do, it's probably a one-time thing just to compare whose talent is better. We get this, I don't want to say we get this often, but we're getting it a lot more now in recent years than we have been previous years. And, with Vince being here, that was not really a thing, and he didn't really like working with other companies unless he was buying that company or wanted to suck some talent up. So the fact that we can do this and be one, it goes to show how really united wrestling fans should be. To recap again, a NXT champion versus a TNA champion inside the UFC arena. There is so many different universes right now coming together into one. It's really just blowing my mind. As far as who I have going into this, I really did have, with full confidence, thinking that Roxanne was going to win. Now I kind of really don't know, because if I want this to be an ongoing, partnership, Jordan Grace should win. She should bring the title to TNA TV, and NXT talent should follow her to TNA TV, and her defending the NXT title on Impact or the TNA title being defended on NXT, regardless of which, I'm torn now. But just for the sake of, to have more NXT stuff follow into TNA, I want to have Jordan Grace win.
Huh. All right, and finally, Beast, your thoughts on this whole fucking thing?
Oh man. As Steve said, wrestling is a beautiful thing. It's very, very beautiful. I remember way back when TNA and WWE kind of had that, like, weird Monday Night War 2.0 bullshit, and it just didn't really work out. TNA got swamped. I never thought, as a wrestling fan, and as a fan of both companies, that ever, especially after that I would ever see TNA and WWE working together, not just like with one-off stuff. Like, I expected that, like, oh yeah, like maybe like appearances here and there, but like this is different. And the fact that, and you know, hearkening back to when I said that social media can be a bad thing, this is where it can be good. Like, I saw reports from pretty reliable sources that this might be an ongoing thing if the cards fall into place right, that NXT talent are allowed on TNA television. That's a crazy fucking thing to think about, and I'm very, very excited for this. And man, like, my words can't even do it justice. If anybody remembers their, like, TNA's old, like, I want to say old adage or old catchphrase, but like their old thing, these TNA Wrestling crossed the line. They crossed the line, all right, and it's the line to fucking WWE. I'm amped. Like, the realist in me wants to say Roxy. Because, and fun fact, Roxy was also on TNA television before she got signed to WWE. She was the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She faced Deonna Purrazzo, if memory serves me correct.
Yep.
The realist in me wants to say Roxy. But the chaos wrestling mark in me wants to say Jordynne Grace. Because, God, fuck, man. I feel like we're gonna have, even if Roxy does retain, I feel like we are gonna have more things come out with TNA and WWE working together. But just to see the chaos of everything, if Jordynne Grace wins, I want that. If Roxy wins, Roxy's going to retain, and my girl Julia is probably going to wrap up her dates, and she's probably going to be able to take it off Roxy. If Jordynne Grace wins, then what the fuck's going to happen next? Whew, man.
Jordynne Grace and Roxy. Could you imagine that?
On, like, a fucking TNA pay-per-view? Round 2? I'm down. Yeah. Fuck, man. I'm not gonna get into the whole fucking Forbidden Door and multiverse thing and talk about who might not show up, because we'd be here for fucking 4 hours, right? Just me rambling. Just me waffling about fucking the potential of what's gonna happen.
And I only expect us to be hanging out for 4 hours for, like, WrestleMania.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. We can make a whole entire...
So I will say this. Whatever comes down the pipeline, I am extremely excited for, as should you be. All the listeners out there, all the fans out there. I don't give a fuck if you're just a fan of WWE and you got this tribalism that WWE's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Listen, swallow your pride, please, and watch some TNA, because this shit's gonna be dope. If you're a fucking AEW diehard and you don't like what the Fed is doing, bro, swallow your pride. Watch some TNA, watch some WWE, because this shit's gonna be dope. If you're a wrestling fan that is just getting into wrestling and you're like, what the fuck's going on? Sit down at your computer for a few hours, probably on one of your days off from work or school, whatever you're doing, and just veg out and watch some TNA, watch some WWE, because the landscape is about to change. Fuck, watch some AEW if you're just getting into it. Because professional wrestling as a whole, not just WWE, not just TNA, not just AEW, not just New Japan, all this shit that's going on right now in wrestling is fucking astronomically cool.
Yeah, it's
and if you're a tribalist, if you're a diehard of a company, please, for the love of God, swallow your pride, because some cool shit's going on. And if you're missing out, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Because I don't care. You can have a favorite company, that's fine. But you need to do yourself a favor and watch as much of the cool shit as you can. Because it's some cool fucking shit, man. It is so dope. And to see TNA and WWE working together, my prediction, again, the realist in me wants to say Roxy because it's probably going to happen in it. But I'm leaning more towards the chaos side. I'm an agent of chaos, as the Joker once said. And man, oh man, my prediction is Jordan motherfucking Grace. Because I want to see her be NXT Women's Champion. I want to see her go to TNA with that title. I want to see her defend that title against Giselle Shaw. I want to see her defend that title against my girl Rosemary. I want to see Roxy go back to TNA television and face Jordan Grace in round 2 for the NXT Women's title.
Yeah, who knows?
I want that.
Yeah, this also has me thinking, as you guys know, I'll be at the next NXT Premium Live event at Heatwave in Toronto. Do you think possibly there could be more crossover matches there?
Yes.
Yes.
I get this, especially considering the fact the Scotiabank Arena, is open for every last seat. Every last seat is going to be open. Now imagine the whole thing packed.
You got to keep in mind also TNA, I believe it's maybe coming up too. We could see WWE talent showing up on that show. I'll be keeping an eye on that. TNA's famous.
Like Slammiversary in Montreal.
Dude, me and Beast were talking about this a few days ago. Like, imagine ABC pulling up in NXT.
Could very well happen. You never know at this point. At this point, anything is possible. By the way, another thing about Bisa mentioned about swallowing pride, it also adds into the fact that, Willie, I'm pretty sure you can attest to this. You know how there was always, in the Spider-Man universe, there was always the set of fans who believe, Tobey Maguire's the best. Andrew Garfield's the best. Tom Holland's the best. But then when No Way Home came out, it was the crossover event. It's like, swallow your pride. They look better as a team.
Yeah, exactly. Like a great comparison there, with the Spider-Man right there. You can it's like ice cream. You can like chocolate. You can like chocolate. You can like vanilla. You can like strawberry. But it's all the same thing. It's all the same exact thing. It's a flavor. You put it in your mouth and you use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's ice cream.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going, Christian. What's up?
Yeah, it's ice cream in the end.
Yeah. What about you?
You don't see me, who I am a pretty big vanilla fan. You don't see me just sitting over with the people that like vanilla. No, I'm sitting with the people that like the Rocky Roads and the fucking the other fucking like the cotton candies and the fucking strawberry. Like I love that shit just because I like and I like a bunch of ice cream flavors. Vanilla is goated, but vanilla's not the only one. I eat a bunch of fucking ice cream flavors. But you don't just see me fucking sit with people that like the same fucking flavor as me. I branch out. And I take my friends who like all kinds of different flavors, and we talk about our favorite ice cream flavors. We talk about different milkshakes we like. Fucking, dude, there's so much out there. There's so much out there. And even if you're just a professional wrestling fan, too, like we were talking about, this crossover that WWE's doing a little bit with the UFC because TKO bought him out. Man, I want people that are professional wrestling fans, because I've been a professional wrestling fan all my life. I've been a combat sports fan with, MMA, kickboxing, bare-knuckle fighting. I've been a fan of that for probably about 10 years, maybe a little more. If you're just a professional wrestling fan and you're either A, just getting into it, or B, been a fan for a while, there's other combat sports out there too, man. Just watch all that shit. Please. Because there's so much more. If you do that, you'll find fighters you like me, Michael Venom Page, who was in Bellator, who is now in UFC, who now, because TKO is the parent company of both, we might see the motherfucker show up in WWE. There's so much out there. And please, I beg of you, if you're a fan of one thing, branch the fuck out, because there's so much cool shit out there. And this is just the fucking start. And man, if Jordan Grace wins, I will be over the fucking moon. If Roxy wins, dope. I'm here for that too. But if Jordan Grace wins, and we get her on TNA television defending that fucking title, we get round 2 of Roxy and Jordan Grace on TNA television, we get Jordan Grace defending against people like Giselle Shaw, like Rosemary, like Jessica Havoc. Please. Oh my God. I can't even fathom the cool shit that's about to go down, because this is just the fucking beginning.
Oh, preach the gospel, Beast.
Yeah. Preach the gospel indeed.
Let's
I'm sweating right now. I'm about to fucking turn my AC on. This is fucking hot in here.
Yeah, it's really hot. It's a hot day. It's a hot day over here too.
It's so wild to see like wrestling come just work. This is why one day I know what people are gonna say. Oh, it's never gonna happen. One day I hope that WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, it doesn't matter. I want all the big wrestling companies to put their egos aside and put on one big show. One big Forbidden Door, one big, I don't freaking know what you call it.
I have a better way of doing this.
Go for it.
2-night event. All those companies. Oh. We're not going to call it Forbidden Door. We're not going to call it like Multiverse or Worlds Collide. We'll call it World War Wrestling.
WWW.
Yeah, it's triple W. Because that's a triple W for any of us.
Yeah.
Think of it like that way and everything, because I'm like, World War Wrestling. That would be something amazing. Who knows? With all these crossovers, they could bring back the Brand Wars of Survivor Series, except it's actually the companies.
Oh my freaking God, yes. Yes. There's so many possibilities. Like, again, we could be sitting on here all day talking about this shit, the dream matches, the dream scenarios, the dream opponents for many of these talents. You know, we're the type of people who, like, try to, like, what's the word? We're the type of people who, like, almost try and like everything. And like B said, like, there's different types of flavor of ice cream and stuff like that. And there's different types of, like, wrestling. There's, for example, let me get an example. I'll let Beast and Steepy kind of time on this one. I wasn't a sports fan at first. I wasn't. You can talk to these boys. I was not. And then...
Oh, yeah, you were clueless when we watched the Super Bowl.
And then I found the UFL, the USFL, which now is the UFL. I had my own team, my own state. And I got to watch the Super Bowl with these boys. They walked me through it. They taught me through it.
Yeah.
And now I'm a full sports fan. And I never thought that I would be without these boys' helps. And now, like, I do branch out. I'm not a big, like, fighting fan, but I dabble in some Bellator. I dabble in some MMA and some UFC. You know, I dabble in some boxing. I watched some of Jake Paul's fights a few years ago with some of the boys. I've watched a few of that shit. I've watched the Conor McGregors. I've watched, you know, like they said, the MVPs of the sport. You know, so... What's up?
You're forgetting.
DC.
You like
DC. Yes, sir, DC. Because of Stephen, I love Daniel Cormier. You know? So, yeah, like, I branched out. Yeah, that's it.
It's like music. I think this was Christian's page. I seen it on, you know, you're not so much a hip-hop rap guy. I personally love, you know, hip-hop and rap. I'm not too much into bands, but other people like bands.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, you know, we all have our own, like, desires, but even despite the fact that I'm not a rap fan, I once went as far as called this genre stupid, and I got flack for it. And honestly, you know what? If people feel that way, then they feel that way. But regardless, I'm like, that doesn't mean I don't like anyone who actually does do it. Like, I give the respect and the credit where credit is due, because, you know, it may not be my thing, and I don't like it. That doesn't mean that I don't like the people who actually do it, because, A, it worked out for them, and they've made a difference on people's lives. So honestly, they should keep going with that. Continue to make a difference on people's lives. Expanding your horizons to things you enjoy. This also goes for anyone in like a relationship. Do you want to just be with somebody who... Here's the thing. A lot of people like try to go for relationships with people who are almost exactly like them. And I'm like, what's the point of that? Whatever you've been through, they've been through. Or you can expand your horizons. Oh, they don't like what you do, but they do like this. How will you try that out? You gotta exit your own comfort zone, try and get to them, and they'll do the same thing for you, because, well, they want to see what makes you happy, just like you want to see what makes them happy. And even if they don't like it in the end, they're like, you know what, you like it, it makes you happy, it's not for me, but it's okay, because I love you for you. That's the whole deal. It's about expanding your horizons, and that's why I like that this event feels like it's the start of expanding horizons here. We are, without a doubt, going to be in for a hell of a show. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our predictions to NXT Battleground Las Vegas. And who would have thought that it was going to be something more than just... It was going to be a regular show during Memorial Day weekend in Savannah, Georgia. Just another NXT event. Then it turned into, well, it's going to be on Sunday, June 9th at the UFC Apex. And now TNA's involved. This This was a podcast beyond anything we've done in prior podcasts. Normally, these NXT podcasts are done within like an hour. This was an hour and a half at least, and there was a lot to discuss for these 6 matches, and each one we had our own thing to talk about for this stuff. We have those who are interested in everything going on with the UFC. We have interest in those going on in TNA. We have Steve here, of course, who's perhaps the big combat sports fan out of us, so he was able to put in his insights. Thank you once again, Steve, for that.
Problem.
Yep. Then you got Beast, who, well, let's be honest, is someone who you want to be hearing speech after speech after speech about when it comes to these sort of things.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. And, of course, Heel Baszler is Heel Baszler. What else needs to be said?
I mean, pretty much you hit the nail in the coffin, pretty much, yeah. We make a pretty big deal. I mean, just to see all 3 of us, like, on the side.
And for those listening to this podcast, I don't need to give an introduction. I know who you are, and you know who I am. Absolutely. You wouldn't be here if you didn't know who I am. But that's why I appreciate my fan base. Even if hardly anybody ever listens to our podcast, but those who take their time out of their day to listen to it, it really means a lot. You guys are the best. This is one of my favorite things to do on my channel. I know recently I've not exactly been given 110% on my content as I have prior. I've been going through a lot of stuff going on, whether it's once again battlegrounds with my depression or dealing with these illnesses that keep hitting me ever since I got COVID. Like, long COVID sucks. It really does. But I'm getting through it, folks, and I'm doing everything I can, and that ain't stopping my excitement for what we got coming up. So that's going to conclude our podcast, and I said a long, good ending right for that. So thank you guys very much. But the ending always goes to one person.
Who would that be?
None other than our very own Heel Baszler. I hope you enjoyed your shows.
Yep.
We'll be back next week, folks, for talking Clash at the Castle, though.
Oh, we will. I have a lot to say about that one, too.
Yeah, so do I. So, Heel Baszler, you know what to do.
Good losers, this is our lounge. Enjoy your ice cream, enjoy the wrestling, and enjoy Sunday, because it's going to be fucking awesome. Too sweet. Peace out.